Thanks, Tina, for that wonderful introduction and taking care of all that business. And I also would like to thank CSL Sarasota for putting together this wonderful workshop series that I'm able to be a part of. I'm so happy to be here. Welcome to Creating a New Habitual Thought Foundation. Tina has either emailed you already or will email to you during this workshop all the exercises that we're going to go over, all the information that we're going to cover, so you don't have to take notes all the time if you don't want to. You will have all this information to refer to later. About 40 years ago, I was able to be taught what at that time was called rational emotive therapy, and by Albert Ellis, who developed this in the 1950s. And it is now, Ellis is considered to be the pioneer of what is now called cognitive therapy, talk therapy, dialect therapy, a lot of other names. So Ellis's thing was that we first have to understand the biology of how we think and how it affects our body. And so with every thought, our brain releases or secretes a chemical. And that starts a whole chain reaction in the body that leads to emotions that come under two categories. And he said the two categories were either under the love category or under the fear category. And under the love category, we have happiness and joy and fulfillment and excitement. And under the fear category, we have anxiety, depression, anger, and guilt. And so basically, we feel these different emotions to varying degrees, depending on how strong the thought is that we have and how long the thought continues, the duration of the thought, because that determines how much chemical we continue to secrete from our brain. This is just the biology and how the body works and everything. And so Ellis went on to talk about that there are 4 core beliefs that we use in our normal everyday lives. And these core beliefs create a base. And from this base is where all other and new beliefs and perspectives come from and are built on top of. That's what we're talking about here today. Ellis believed that people wanted to be happy and live joyful and fulfilled lives and everything, and mostly experience the emotions underneath the love category. And the most important aspect of that is the unconditional love and acceptance that we give ourselves. Ellis went on to explain that these beliefs are inaccurate because they mostly produce emotions that are underneath the fear category. And remember, we want to be happy and joyous and live fulfilled lives. We are creatures of habit and we think in processes. So Ellis premised that by creating a new, accurate, effective core beliefs using a specific process that was also accurate and effective, it is logical to think that then we would be creating emotions underneath the love category. The same logic goes with that, is that if we continue to use that same process that is accurate and effective, that will then create other and more beliefs that are accurate and effective, and thus more emotions underneath the love category. So it's important to understand that these core beliefs are the ones that determine how we see ourselves, how we see the world, and how we see ourselves in the world. That is why they're so important. Reality is that we learn these beliefs. We learn these by people who love us dearly, our parents, our teachers, anybody who is in our lives in those informative years. We also get reinforced this throughout our lifetimes with media and advertising. And so these beliefs are constantly telling us to look outside of ourselves, telling us to look to the outside world for our happiness, our validation, and our security and self-confidence. And once again, we're talking about a thought process. So it's the same thought process when a child thinks, hey, I got the right lunchbox, so I am better than the kid that doesn't have the right lunchbox. That's the same process, different details, but same process as the guy that thinks, hey, I'm driving a Beamer and I'm better than the guy that's not driving the Beamer. Same process, just different details. So the core beliefs that Ellis was talking about and referred to is the first one is that everything in life is personal. Life happens to us. Life is being done to us. Has anybody ever taken anything personal? Yeah. The second one is that a person's value and self-worth constantly goes up and down, and it all is determined by how we rate, judge, and compare ourselves to others, and where we land on this rating scale that everyone has. Has anybody ever compared or judged them or rated themselves? The third one is that our security and self-confidence also constantly goes up and down because it is tied to the same rating scale that we were just talking about. If we do something well, I feel more confident and self-assured. If I don't do something well, I feel insecure. So it once again also goes up and down constantly. And the fourth one is that our thoughts and emotions are automatic. They just happen. We don't have any control over them. Not only do we don't have any control over them, other people can make us. Other person can make us feel something. Other person can make us act a particular way. So has anybody ever, said, you made me feel? Yeah. So all of these things are constantly, we are looking to the outside world for our happiness, our validation, and our security and self-confidence. These create perspectives that we're not enough, that we're insufficient, that we're lacking, or feelings of superiority. These four core beliefs are the beliefs that we use, like I said, throughout our normal everyday lives. This creates a base from where we create and build from all of our other beliefs and perspectives and everything. This is what we're talking about here today. Ellis said that these core beliefs are inaccurate because, remember, we want to be happy and live healthy and productive and fulfilled lives. In other words, lots of emotions underneath the love category. And these core beliefs create lots of emotions underneath the fear category. So this is, we have a conflict here. So Ellis went on to say, change the core beliefs to ones that are accurate and effective, and create new conversations in your head around these new core beliefs, secreting that different chemical, thus starting out with more feelings underneath the love category. The work is always done on the inside, okay? So even though we do the work on the inside, we have to actively have behaviors that demonstrate that work has been done on the inside. Awareness without action does nothing. Action without awareness is like shooting in the dark. Action through awareness is what conscious living is all about. I've always defined integrity as when your thoughts, your words, and your behaviors are all in alignment, you are then living with integrity and through integrity and being authentic. Now, let's look at these core beliefs and see, are they inaccurate or not? The first one is, nothing in life is personal. Somebody blows your brains out. It's not personal. If it wasn't you, it would be the other person that was standing there and it happened to. Somebody cut you off in traffic. It's not personal. If it wasn't you, it would be the other car that got cut off. You get a promotion at work. It's not personal. If it wasn't you, it would be the other person that got the promotion. Life doesn't just wait for us to be in the exact spot and bam, cut you off in traffic. That's not how life operates. It just is fluid and continues and is constant. Life doesn't happen to us. We are not victims here. By looking at this now through this way, can you see that it's inaccurate? Does that make sense? The second one is looking at comparing and rating and judging ourselves. Where are the facts that say because you look a right way, or you behave the right way, or you have the right opinions, or whatever it is, that you have more value and self-worth than somebody that is different? Where are the facts that say that? Who decided that? Does everybody have the same rating scale? No, people have all different rating scales. You know, some people have a rating scale that supports the idea that they have to be loved and accepted to have value and self-worth. Another person has a rating scale that they have to be thoroughly competent and adequate to have value and self-worth. How many things on your rating scale do you have to put pluses by every day or every moment or whatever it is, so that you maintain your value and self-worth, or you raise your value and self-worth? You know, who decides that? How many minuses or mistakes do you have to, can you make before your value and self-worth goes down? Does it make sense now, by looking at these this way, that these are inaccurate? Does that make sense? So now let's look at security and self-confidence. You know, where are the facts that say your security and self-confidence are determined by where you land on this rating scale? By if you do something well or don't do something well, then you can feel security and self-confident. You know, who decided that? Once again, where is this rating scale? How many things do you have to do? Who decided that, and where did it come from? Does it make sense that everyone has a different rating scale and everything, and that is held to that? Looking at this now logically, does it make sense that this is inaccurate? So the last one is like what we stated earlier. We have to think before we can feel. We know that we are in control of our thoughts, all right? They don't just happen automatically, or our emotions. You know, yes, they happen quickly and fast and all of that, absolutely, but they're not automatic. And now, slowing them down to become more aware of them, yes, that is definitely the key. But they are not automatic. No one can make us feel or act anything. We have to think those thoughts to make us feel and make us act any particular way. Now, by looking at this, does it make sense that this is inaccurate? So, as we mentioned earlier, these core beliefs determine our perspective. They determine how we see ourselves, how we see the world, and how we see ourselves in the world. You have two children playing at the beach. They're at the water's edge. They're toddlers. And a big wave comes up and knocks them both down. One child gets up and goes screaming and crying off to its mom. The other child jumps up, laughing and giggling, waiting for the next wave. The situation was identical. The only difference is the perspective that each child processed the situation through. The only difference. So, how do we create making new beliefs? And that's where we talk about the Four Cornerstones. Because Four Cornerstones create a foundation, and they're the strongest part of any foundation. And your foundation is poured on top of these four cornerstones. And as I said, your foundation is only as strong as these four cornerstones. So let's look at cornerstone number 1. Nothing in life is personal. We are not victims of life. We are not victims of anything. It's sometimes a little difficult to this is the one that's most difficult for people to grasp. What do you mean nothing in life is personal? As we've already decided that it was inaccurate. Life just happens, it's fluid, it's constantly in motion. So a way that we create a little bit of distance in our thinking and in our words and how we talk to ourselves is that whenever you use the word my, replace it with the word the. So because my is the epitome of making something personal. When you replace the word my with the word the, it removes it a bit. It is not my body, it's the body. It's not my job, it's the job. Actively replace this, actively change this in your thinking. Always talk to yourself and in these terms. And when you catch yourself using the word my, actively change it to the word the, over and over and over again. Remember, the only way to create a new habit is through repetition. You gotta put in the reps to make anything happen. It's just like you want to play a good tennis game. You have to do that stroke over and over and over and over again before it becomes a habit, before it becomes accurate, before it becomes a part of how you play your tennis game. No different in how we're thinking. We have to do the same thing. We have to do it over and over and over again. It's not glamorous, but it works. Now, there is something that is personal, and that is the relationship with yourself. That is the most personal thing that you have, and it is accurate. And it's your responsibility to develop that relationship. How you talk to yourself, the conversations in your head with yourself. You'll either be your own best friend or your own worst enemy. You decide that. Be aware of that. Be conscious. Be your own best friend. This relationship is so important because it determines how you engage and create all other relationships in your life. So be conscious of that. Be your own best friend consciously. And how we go about doing part of that is that know yourself. Know who you are. Know who you choose to be. And this is an exercise that's in the handout, so you can do it later, but we'll just go over it now. So write down words that show and describe the person that you want to be. Are you loving, kind, compassionate? Are you a leader? Are you a supporter? Are you loud? Are you quiet? Whatever they are is fine. Nothing is engraved in stone. You might throw out some and put in some other ones later. That's fine. Know who you choose to be. Know who the person that you are and who you choose to be. Be actively, determining that. Write those things down. You are then constantly looking inside of yourself for who you want to be and being accurate with that. You're giving yourself to look at, what those things are, instead of going back to the old habit of looking to the outside world for validation, for happiness, for our security. And remember, what I mean by the outside world starts at our body on out. That is all the outside world. Look inside us, but we have to give ourselves the things to look at and look to. So this is one of them. Know yourself, know who you are. Something very, very important also is be honest with yourself. Nobody else knows what that conversation you're having with yourself inside your head. Nobody ever knows what that conversation is. So you have to be honest with yourself. You have to know where you are so you can figure out where you want to go. Only by being honest with yourself do you figure out where you are, so then you can decide where you want to go. If you're using the word my a lot, okay, be honest with yourself. Alrighty, let me concentrate on that a little bit more. This is creating and maintaining a healthy, unconditional, loving relationship with yourself. All right, now cornerstone number 2 is value and self-worth is a constant. It does not go up and down. A guy who's murdered 40 people has the same value and self-worth as you and me. Now there's rewards and consequences for behavior, absolutely. But that intrinsic value and self-worth is a constant. You don't have to do or prove anything to have value and self-worth. We all have the same value and self-worth just because we are alive and here today. Everyone on the planet has the same value and self-worth. We each have the same value and worth as Gandhi, Sister Teresa, Jesus. Everyone has the same value and self-worth. It's a constant. It doesn't go up, it doesn't go down. Nothing can add to it, nothing can take away from it. This is accurate. This is what unconditional love is. The only prerequisite that we need is that we are alive and here today. So now put up the first slide, please. All right, so now this slide, you can see that at the bottom it says this is you. And then on the left-hand side, it says self-worth and value as a human being. And on the right-hand side, it says physical characteristics, ideas, behaviors, opinions, failures, accomplishments, basically everything else that's in the outside world. And remember, the outside world starts at the body and goes out. So then you have the little dotted line at the top. And this is where we start to distort our thinking and put these things together and bring them together. Our value and worth is based on all the things in the outside world, everything that's on that right-hand side. And that's a distortion. That's inaccurate thinking. You know, keep this diagram in your mind. Look at it often. You know, it helps to keep them separated. Nothing touches your value and self-worth. Nothing touches anybody else's value and self-worth. Everybody's all the same. So this helps to help you to be more conscious and aware, keeping those things separate. Actively be aware, actively be conscious, and talking to yourself in these terms of keeping those things separate. Okay, you can take down that slide now. The other thing that we do, and that this is really powerful, and it helps you to create that new thought, belief, and foundation, is what we call mirror work. And mirror work is mirror work. Okay, so it's this exercise was also in your handout, so you'll have it all. It's all written down and everything, but we'll just go over it here. And you'll need a place where you have privacy, that you have a mirror that you can see your entire face. And so you need to put 3 minutes on your watch or your phone or Google, whatever you have, all right? And you stand in the mirror and you say out loud, looking directly into your eyes, and you say to yourself, I love me, 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 over and over and over again. 3 minutes. Over and over and over again. Look into your eyes. Some people laugh, some people cry, some people this is very uncomfortable, other people this is very comforting. Whatever it is fine. It doesn't make any difference. You are not just creating an unconditional loving relationship with yourself, but you're maintaining one. Look into your eyes and say this over and over out loud to yourself. 3 minutes. Then go on and say these other things. Will you please put up the second slide? So continue to look into your eyes and say out loud, I love me without restrictions, demands, or limitations. I love me completely and unconditionally. I like me. Nothing in my life is personal. Nothing. If it's not me, then it would be the other person that it's happened to. It's just life. My self-worth and value as a human being is a constant and does not go up or down, and it's not based on anything in the outside world. I have value and worth just because I'm alive and here today, just as does everyone else in the world. I don't have to do or prove anything to have value and worth as a human being. I choose my thoughts. I choose what I focus on and what I think about. I choose my conversations that I have in my head, and I choose active and effective ones. I decide. It is my life, and I choose the beliefs I have. I now choose beliefs of unconditional love and acceptance for myself and others. Go ahead and take down that slide, please. The more you repeat this exercise, the stronger the habit gets, the stronger the relationship with yourself gets. That is that unconditionally loving relationship that you not only nurture with yourself, you actively continue to create and maintain. This is one of the ways that you do it. Actively talk to yourself in these terms. Love and accept yourself always, unconditionally. All right, it's not glamorous, but it works. So now we'll go on to cornerstone number 3. And this is about security and self-confidence. And since your value and worth is based on just because you're alive and here today, and that is where you draw that sense of value and worth, and you understand that everybody's is the same. You draw your feeling and sense of security and self-confidence from that same thing. When value and worth is a constant and nothing goes up and down, then your security within yourselves can also be a constant, because nothing is going up and down. You're not tying it to anything in the outside world. You are giving it to yourself. You are understanding that it's you are giving this to yourself. Your value and self-worth is from within you, and you have it, and that's where it lies. So it's logic to think that these two go together and they support each other. Now we have another homework. It's homework. This is home. So please put up slide number 3. And this is, once again, it's all in your handouts and everything. So this is an exercise that we do. We first have to determine, your body is like a test tube. So you have to determine where your full mark is, okay? So is your full level at your throat, or is it right at your nose, or is your full level at your eyes or at the top of your head? Wherever it is fine, but just decide where your full level is, okay? Every morning before you get up, I want you to lay on your back. Your body's like a test tube, and do a mental evaluation of where is your security and self-confidence at that moment. Okay, just take a mental note of that. And then what I want you to do, I'm going to give you specific sentences, and I want you to visualize these sentences coming out, these words coming out of your mouth, going into the top of your head and filling yourself up. Okay, so the sentences, they are, I am completely secure within myself. Visualize the words coming out of your mouth, going into the top of your head and filling yourself up. I have everything I need to be completely secure within myself right here and now. Watch the words come out of your mouth into the top of your head and fill yourself up. I don't have to do or prove anything to be secure and feel confident. My confidence and security comes from within me and nothing else. Each time visualizing the words coming out of your mouth and into the top of your head and fill yourself up. You continue to say these things, and you can say these out loud or to yourself. It doesn't make any difference. It works the same way. You continue to say these things and visualize the words coming out of your mouth and into the top of your head and filling yourself up until you reach your full mark. Remember, wherever that full mark was, you continue to do this until you reach your full mark. Okay, so now you can take down that slide. You continue to do this, okay? Now you're starting your day full of security and confidence within yourself. You understand that this comes from you. You have everything inside of you to give you what you need to make you feel secure and confident. There's no need to look to the outside world, for your validation, your happiness, and your security. It's all within inside of you, but you have to give yourself something to actually do to put the focus there. It is our human thinking that gets in our way throughout our day and gets us off track, not our spiritual thinking. It's our human thinking. So we give ourselves specific things to actively be conscious and talk about to ourselves. That's that conversation in our head happening all the time. Do this every day before you get up. Fill yourself up every day before you start your day. And if you feel throughout, your day feeling a little insecure or something, say these things. Fill yourself up. You fill yourself up. Fill up whatever that it is that you need, and just be confident and gain that sense because you've given it to yourself, not because you're looking to the outside world for anything. You can do that all to yourself and by yourself, and that's all that needs. Now we're on to cornerstone number 4, and that is you choose. The reality is that you choose what you think. You choose the conversations in your head. You choose the person that you want to be. You choose the life that you want to live. You choose. This is in your control 100%. Choose the 4 cornerstones. Choose to create these new core beliefs within yourself. Choose to create this firm foundation that is based on accurate and effective beliefs, that everything else then comes from that. To choose that, to create this and make this your habitual dominant thoughts and beliefs and everything takes effort. Whatever you consistently think on a daily basis, on a moment-to-moment basis, whatever is consistently going through your head, that is your way of life. Let these things consistently be going through your head. Let the ideas of nothing in life is personal constantly be going through your head. You're changing the words my to the constantly. This is your daily life. Let the ideas and conversations in your head be consistently about your value and worth, and everybody else's is a constant. There is no rating, there is no judging, there is no comparing. That is not effective. That is inaccurate. You choose differently. You choose a perspective that empowers people, that constantly is helping you feel those emotions underneath the love category. You choose these things. Be aware of what your conversations are. Be aware of how you think inside your head. Choose. Imagine that now these new 4 cornerstones are your core beliefs. They dominate your thinking, your thoughts throughout your day. Okay, these are your perspective. This is now your basic thought foundation. So this is where you start your day. This is where you start your thoughts and your beliefs and your perspective, from a knowingness that nothing in life is personal, that life just ebbs and flows and will continue to do so for eternity. It's just life. You know that your value and worth, as everybody else's, is a constant. There is nothing that can be done to raise it. There is nothing that can be done to lower it. It's a constant. This is where you're starting from, that. This also then leads to you feeling secure and confident within yourself, because you know that you have what it takes. You know that you can give what you need to yourself to make yourself feel secure, to make yourself feel confident. You give that to yourself. You're no longer looking to the outside world for that validation, for that happiness, or for that security. It only matters what you think about yourself. What anybody else thinks about you doesn't matter at all. I always say that somebody else's opinion of you is none of your business. It's only what you think and that conversation that you have in your head about yourself and the perspectives that you choose. This is all within yourself, and now you're starting your day from this whole different foundation. What you think is 100% your choice and 100% in your control. This is now your human thinking. This is now your base, your foundation. This is where you start. This is how you see yourself, how you see the world, and how you see yourself in the world. During the same time, you're meeting yourself in the mirror, and something that I always like to do is that every day, whenever you're brushing your teeth, the entire time that you're brushing your teeth, you look into your eyes and you say, I love me, I love me, I love me. You're maintaining that relationship, that unconditional loving relationship for yourself. Or you say to yourself, whatever else you think you need to be hearing at that time. You are giving yourself those things that you need. You fill yourself up. You give yourself what you need. You don't look to the outside world for happiness, validation, or security. This is what unconditional love for yourself looks like. This is what unconditional love for yourself feels like. Empower yourself. This now are your core beliefs and your foundation. You fill yourself up. Feel the security. strong, loving, unconditional relationship with yourself. Now you open up all possibilities because you are full, you are complete, you have what you need from yourself to live your life. There are no restrictions, there are no expectations, there are no limits, just loving support for yourself. Live your life through this. Live your life so your thoughts, your words, and your behaviors are all of the same thing, all in alignment through integrity and authenticity. Because now you have a base and a foundation that gives you strong, accurate, and effective beliefs to start everything from. You decide this. Make that your choice. Let's talk about one of my favorite subjects, physics. Metaphysics, quantum physics, all of it. I love it all. The scientific community has proven by scientific method, which means that they have figured out the mathematical formula to prove these things that mystics and spiritual thinking has been talking about for a long, long time. The first one is that space is not empty. Space is filled with this energy field or fabric or carpet that is very flexible and malleable and everything. And it is from there that all form and substance and matter is created. The second one being that all matter breaks down to pure energy. So the table, everything in our physical world, when broken down to its minute, infinite source, it breaks down to pure energy. And the third one is that our thoughts are creative. They influence and determine the form that matter takes in our world. I know that probably everybody's already heard about, a double-blind study or a triple-blind study and things like that. And that had to be brought about because the scientific community was seeing that you had to, anybody who was involved in participating in the study, whatever it was, they realized that their thoughts were skewing and affecting the results of the study. So they went from a single blind study, was just where the participants in the study were the only ones that didn't know what was going on, to a double blind study that not only do the participants don't know what's going on, the people administering the study also don't know what's going on. So trying to make the study as unaffected as possible. The reality is that we also then have the placebo effect, which then continues and really shows how our thoughts do affect and create into form our world, put into form matter that then is produced in our world. So it just shows how our thoughts do affect and determine how matter comes together in our physical world. We no longer have to debate these things. They've now been proven by scientific definition, and so we can actually use them and see them as universal laws. When we are actively working within universal laws, it just makes life so much easier for us. Let's talk about co-creating now. Co-creating is putting our human thoughts and processes together with our spiritual thoughts and processes. And this happens with every thought, every moment of every day. We are co-created from unconditional love and our individualized expressions of spirit, or God, or universe, whatever you choose to use. I choose to use spirit. Spirit already put its part of the co-creating process. We are alive and here today. We are made from unconditional love and acceptance with no restrictions, no demands, and no limitations. That is what we start with. That is what we are created from, so that is what we are. It is always a part of us and always available to us. And that is why we have all possibilities available to us at all times, during our entire lifetime, not just in the beginning of it or anything, during our entire lifetime. And we have proof that this is how this is all working because we have free will. We do not have any demands or expectations or limitations placed on us. We may do that with our human thinking and processes, but that's not, Spirit's part of the co-creating process. Remember that our most important thing that we have is that we think. We decide and choose all the way through this journey of our life. And that shows our free will. Spirit created us to express itself through us, express and experience itself through us, in us, and as us. We then have to put our part. We add our beliefs and our thoughts, and this continues the co-creative process. This is our life. This is how Spirit expresses and experiences itself through us. This is how we express and experience ourselves, living our lives every moment of every day. Now that is co-creating, and consciously so. When our human thinking comes from unconditional love and is based on unconditional love and acceptance, then both the spiritual thinking and process and the human thinking and process are in alignment. They're all heading in the same way. They're all heading down the same road. They're all coming from unconditional love and acceptance. There is no conflict there. It's not one is heading down the road of unconditional love and acceptance, and the other is heading down the road of judging and rating and comparing. When we are both coming from the same thing, the road, the direction, the pull, everything is the same way. We are then creating experiences and expressions that are, and behaviors that give us emotions that fall mostly and are always underneath the love category. We are co-creating all the time, whether we realize it or not, every moment of every day. It's just how the universe works. Be aware of what you're thinking. Be conscious of what you're creating. Those of you that are familiar with Science of Mind know that Science of Mind teaches very specific steps in doing a spiritual mind treatment and other spiritual thoughts and processes. Why do they do that? Because it works. They've proven that if you use the same steps over and over again, you get the same results. It's all about the process. You change the details, but it's all about the same process. You do the same process, you get the same results. The same thing is true here. If you use the specific steps to create effective and accurate beliefs, and also how to challenge to see if your beliefs and thoughts are accurate and effective, you will get the same results over and over again. By developing the process and using accurate, effective thoughts and thoughts, perspectives, and beliefs throughout your day, you will produce the same type of results consistently. That's just how it all works. So, and you will consistently be producing then emotions that fall underneath the love category. This is from where normal everyday life functions then. This is how you are journeying through your normal everyday life. You are using the same process and getting the same results. In this way, you are expanding your awareness and recognizing the conversations in your head. This is one of the main steps. You then choose the Four Cornerstones to be an active part of, you choose all the Four Cornerstones, then to be an active part of that conversation in your head, consciously, daily, not just the conversation in your head, but talking to other people about these things. You then maintain and continue that loving, unconditional relationship with yourself. You will receive the same results over and over and over again, and they are based on unconditional love and acceptance. It's not a one and done type thing. It's not just you do this for a little bit and that's just how it is. It is a way of life. Whatever you think about consistently in your mind, whatever the conversation is, most often in your head, and the direction that it's going and everything like that, that is your way of life. So I urge you to do the homework. I urge you to make this your world just for a little bit. Practice these things daily. Do the exercises. Actively create and maintain that loving relationship with yourself. In a short period of time, you will see that now this is becoming the habit. This is becoming the dominating thoughts and perspectives in your normal everyday life. This is how what you are choosing. You are actively cultivating it. You are doing specific steps. So then you get the same result over and over again. You will consistently feel the unconditional love and acceptance for yourself and for others. It's each of our responsibility to shine our own light, whatever that means to each of us. Take that responsibility. Live without expectations, love without demands, and create without limitations. When we consciously create our highest and best lives, not only are we having those wonderful and highest and best lives, but Spirit is also experiencing those same wonderful and highest and best lives through us and as us. We are one in the same. Do our homework. Align our human beliefs and thoughts with our spiritual beliefs and thoughts. Then co-create powerful, light-filled, unlimited experiences during this lifetime. We evolve as humanity when we broaden our beliefs to include unconditional love and acceptance for ourselves and for everyone else. When we release any restrictions, demands, and limitations on ourselves and everyone else, then we shed light on the world around us. That is when we teach by example. Please put up the last slide. I know I've given you lots of information in a very short period of time, and there's more. There's specific steps to anxiety and anger and depression and guilt, about forgiveness and intuition and the importance of motivation and intention and more. I would like to offer that for those people that are here participating in this original workshop, a free 30-minute session to talk about these things or whatever you would like. My email is up here on the slide, and it's also in the handouts that Tina has emailed to you. So contact me so we can set up a time if you would like that. You can go ahead and remove the slide now.